Today is a red day, but not for Bitcoin and not for crypto. Okay. And you know what? Those pesky ETFs, we're going to get more of them. More and more of them. And the ones that we do have in the US, man, they are FOMOing, salivating hard. Okay. BlackRock. BlackRock is the biggest asset manager on the planet. Keep that in mind. And Fidelity's up there. It's like they're like top 5. Okay. And look at how much inflows they had so far. In fact, Fidelity, 56%. 56% of everything that they bought this year is Bitcoin. That's right. And 26% for BlackRock. I mean, just take a second to think about that. Okay, these are the largest asset managers on the planet. And yes, they have their ETFs. And yes, institutions and companies and banks, and pension funds and family offices, they are FOMOing right now. They're buying as much as possible. I've been telling you guys this ever since the ETFs came out. This is going to be extremely bullish short term for Bitcoin, as all these guys now have another avenue, another way to purchase Bitcoin indirectly, which directly helps Bitcoin. That's why spot ETFs are so important. Okay. Still waiting for Vanguard to come out with their ETF, but you could see all these big players on here. Okay. And you know, eventually it's just a matter of time when every single asset manager and every single fund will have a little bit of Bitcoin in them. Okay. It has only been this year. It's only been 6 months. We're only barely halfway through this year. And ETFs have only been out for like 4 months, 5 months. Imagine after 4 years, how much Bitcoin will be taken up. How much Bitcoin will be available after all the FOMO? I don't know. Not a whole lot, that's for sure. Yesterday, we saw a positive inflow once again of 1,500 Bitcoin. In case you're wondering, that's $100 million again bought and inflowed into these ETFs. And this will continue basically forever. There may be some days where we don't have an inflow. Maybe we even have some outflow days. But overall, we're seeing more and more and more. Last week was absolutely fantastic. Every single day we saw like 40 million flow into Bitcoin ETFs. Yesterday, a large 100 million. And it's just a matter of time. Matter of time before we get more. And this is just the US. Those of you guys in Australia, now you can actually buy Bitcoin ETFs as well. Today is the official day. Okay, actually, I probably started yesterday, last night, because Australia is like, I don't know how many hours ahead of you US. But yeah, Australia now has ETFs too. And not only that, Thailand is about to get Bitcoin ETFs too. Do you see a pattern here? Everywhere around the world. Okay, everyone wants Bitcoin. It's the digital currency. Okay, that crosses all borders. You don't have to worry about conversion and conversion rates and any of that. Okay, you go buy Bitcoin and you can send it anywhere across the world almost instantly, and it's the one currency that hedges against inflation, the ultimate hedge against inflation. That's why the whole world wants it. It doesn't matter if you're in Thailand or South Korea or Europe or America, wherever, okay? Everyone wants a piece. And in relation to these ETFs, it's not just everyone. It's not just retail investors, okay? We're talking about the largest companies on the planet. They want a piece. That's why we're getting ETFs, right, around the world. So absolutely fantastic. But what about this huge buy signal that I hinted at that hasn't flashed since 2023, since Bitcoin was $25,000. Well, that relates to the miners and something called the hash ribbons. Okay. Now, this is a very good signal, very good indicator, actually, because, again, usually you don't get this until you see some kind of capitulation. Okay. This is basically just measuring miners and whether or not they are very bullish or they have sold off everything they have and now it's become bearish for the miners. And that seems kind of weird, but you know, miners, sometimes they do have to sell, right? Because they're mining all this Bitcoin. Sometimes they have to sell. Sometimes their inventory is quite low. Sometimes they can't sell because they're actually in the red because Bitcoin, let's say, for example, drops below a certain price and that costs more than what it, or less than what it takes to mine, right? So there's a process there for miners. They have to adjust periodically. Now, of course, they would love to hold forever, and some of them do hold a lot of Bitcoin. But still, there are certain situations where you can measure their, again, kind of like the ETFs, their inflows, outflows, and all that stuff. But someone has noted, you know, this new signal that was created not too long ago, back in 2019. You know, they were looking at, this person looked at the miners, what they're doing, right? And kind of extrapolated the data and showed that there are certain times, especially in crypto winter, you know, there are times where the miners just are not doing very good. And then there are times when, yes, when there's like this absolute capitulation, that's when things flip around. The funny thing is, right, when Bitcoin was at 25,000, right, we went through that back in September 2023. And also you look at it at the beginning of 2023 in January, that was when Bitcoin hit 15,000, right? We knew around that time, it was around capitulation. We knew it. We hit 16,000, right? And we had that moment at 25,000. The funny thing is, now that we're after the halving event and it became twice as difficult for the miners to make the same amount because the inflation rate was cut in half, we're actually seeing that hash ribbon signal buy, as if we are as low as 25,000, as if we are as low as 16,000. So we've been consolidating here around the 69,000 mark for quite some time, for almost 3 months now. Okay, and I've been telling you guys we've been going sideways. We've been building that base. And according to this signal, we are ready to move. We are ready to move as if we are at 16,000 or 25,000 while being at 69,000. Take a second to think about that. If this is really the capitulation point and this is truly the bottom before we start on our parabolic run that could be happening anytime soon, just imagine what the next stop is. Just imagine the next time we hit this capitulation point on the hash ribbon, how high Bitcoin would be. Could be at $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 before we see this signal buy again.